episode of Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Modern Grind. And today, before we get started, I just want to say big thank you to everyone. We're almost at 3,000 subscribers. It really means the world to me that y'all watch. I do this for you, so thank you so much. I love goblins and I'll play them till the day I die, but the fact that even one of you is out there looking at these crazy brews means the world to me. Mic check's good. Um, Before we get started, big shout out to the members, people who support the channel, allow me to go to these big tournaments and just help keep things running. Alpha Ronan, Tim's Top Decks, Elias Sutter, The Darth Newt, ADDY100K, Jared Munsterman, and Annan, absolute legends supporting the channel. Really means the world to me. And if you enjoy Goblins content, if you enjoy listening to me ramble, hit that like and subscribe. Easiest way to support the channel, and it's free. So let's jump into it. Before we start, we got some new Final Fantasy spoilers. I just want to touch on real quick. Oh God, where do we start? So the most recent one is Edgar, King of Figaro. 6 mana, 4/5. When he ETBs, you draw a card for each artifact you control. Hold up, hey, that is a big ass bug. I mean a card, hey, that's insane. So even if it just draws you 1 or 2 cards, 6 mana for a 4 or 5 that draws 2 cards, that's pretty good. Now you add on to the fact that you could have way more. You could have 5, 10 Smothering Tithe tokens, like treasures. You could just there's so many ways that you can break this card. And so I feel like overall, you look at this card and you're like, okay, this is a commander staple, right? Blue artifact legends right off the bat, it's going to go crazy. Now, you go to standard and there's a mono blue or blue red or blue white artifact deck right now. And so this could be your way to refill your hand after you cast all your affinity for artifact spells. So I think that Edgar is probably a build around. The 2-headed coin thing, the first time you flip 1 or more coins each turn, those coins come up heads and you win those flips. Basically flavor text. I can't imagine a situation where you want to always win your flip. There's like some niche, like take extra turn spells that you flip a coin. And if you do, then you get to take an extra turn. So I guess with Edgar, the flip a coin, if you win, you get to take an extra turn. That's a pretty good card. But 6 mana is too much for most formats besides Commander and Standard. The other card I want to talk about is I'll say this card how I saw it the first time I read it, and I really had to work hard to get the pronunciation down. I heard it as Bedlam T-Rexosaurus, which I thought was a really cool name. And then I have to go back and go, it's Ba-La T-Rexor, which is cool. I'm sure like it means, it's a game that is near and dear to people's hearts. So I'm sure that the pronunciation is well known. They probably hear their favorite character say it like 9 times. But to me, Bedlam T-Rexosaurus or something along those lines is used to be so cool. This is still really cool. It's a 6 mana 6/6 which you can forest cycling, so you can grab your surveil land, and then when it enters, you gain 3 life and has trample. I mean, if you're able to like turn 1 Llanowar Elves, turn 2 forest cycling, turn 3 reanimate this, you gain 3 life, you have a 6/6 body. Like, I don't want to say that's good, but like that sounds pretty good. I feel like these cycling cards are super underrated right now. I feel like they need to be looked at as their own. Look at it like the Modern Horizons cyclers. I understand that they're not 1 mana. Very fair. I understand that it's not eternal formats we're looking at. Or it's fair. It's a rotating format. It's just in standard. However, we have so much graveyard support. Like graveyard reanimation decks really have not been a thing since like the coiling, or there's a 5 mana card from Bloom Burrow. You can gift something, and if you do, you get to offspring whatever you bring back. I've seen people bring back Massacre Worms. I've seen people bring back a whole bunch of stuff. But like the reanimator archetype is just not good. This card, ETBs to gain you life, is a decent blocker, and it's a Colossal Dreadmaw that gains 3. and can get your surveil land. So I feel like this card is going to be good for as long as surveil lands are in standard. And then it's just like whether or not you play it in like a reanimator shell, or do you just like try to ramp into it normally with lands, overlord of the woods. But I think I was excited to see what the other we have just the only one that's left I believe is the red cycler. So this card's really cool. Probably talked about it way too much. This card is also insane. It's a 2-mana legendary wolf. Whenever you cast your first human creature spell each turn, that creature enters with an additional wolf encounter for each dog and or wolf. And it taps for mana. So it's a mana dork that you can have in your command zone that buffs up all of your humans, that buffs up the first human you cast each turn for all of your dogs and wolves. So if you have like pack like werewolf tribal, right? Werewolves are wolves and humans. So you cast the front side of your werewolf, it's face up, it enters, gets the counters, and then like for all of your other flip werewolves. So I think this card's going to be really cool. It's a cool pauper legend too. Summon Titan is insane. 5 mana 7/7 with reach and trample. So that means that you're going to lose it after the third turn, but you get this cool ability. When it enters, or it's the first chapter, you mill 5. Then the second chapter is you return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So you kind of got a little Aftermath Analyst action going on. Aftermath Analyst is a 2-mana 1/3 that when it enters you mill 4, and then you can pay 4 to bring back all the lands from your graveyard and sack it. So to have this on a 7/7 body, just like even if one land goes in the graveyard and one land comes back, right? That's replacing the Titan. It's ramping you 1. And then if you ramp for 2, that's a little bit below rate because usually explosive vegetation is 2 mana grab 2 or 4 mana grab 2 lands tapped. But you have the upside of also having the third mode. Until end of turn, another target creature you control gains trample and gets +X or X the number of lands you control. So on the third chapter, the turn that you sack it, you choose another creature and you potentially give that, even if you haven't returned any lands from your graveyard, you give it potentially 5 +5/+5 and trample. And the ceiling on this card is insane. So I think Summon Titan is actually going to be pretty interesting to see if people play around it. We also got the Water Crystal, which I think is like for EDH going to be absolutely insane. It's a 4-mana artifact. Blue spells cost 1 less to cast. And if an opponent would mill 1 or more cards, they mill that many cards +4 instead. It's not +1. It's not. I thought it was going to be doubled, and then it's not doubled, but it's +4. So this is worse with large instances. But if you're doing like individual mills, like a mesmeric orb, for example, one mesmeric orb. If your opponent untaps 1 land, they mill 5 cards, and that's insane. So I think that like in EDH, the Water Crystal is going to be insane. There might be a mill deck in Standard now, but I'm not 1,000% sure. I just think this card's like super cool, and there's a lot of like room to innovate with this card because instances of 1 mill are pretty easy. There's a lot of ways you can just trigger that, and for each mill to be increased by 4, so each instance of 1 mill it becomes mill 5. It's going to be disgusting. Then we go to the other crystals I wanted to talk about. I guess we should let's talk about Joshua. Joshua Phoenix's Dominant is a 3-mana 3/4. When Joshua enters, discard up to 2 cards, then draw that many cards. And then you can pay 5, tap, exile Joshua, return to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control only the sorcery. Does not have haste, so you do have to wait 1 turn to do this, even if you have 8 mana. The backside is Phoenix, Warden of Fire, Rising Flames. First and second chapter are both, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. The third chapter is return any number of target creature cards with total mana value 6 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Exile Phoenix, and then return to the battlefield front face up. And it's a 4/4 with flying and lifelink. So again, doesn't have haste, so it exiles itself, brings itself back. You don't get to attack the first turn, but you shock them. The second turn, you attack for 4 in the air with flying and lifelink, and you shock them. So they've taken 8 so far. Then the third mode, you don't get to attack, but you bring back a bunch of stuff, and then it comes back as front side. You can pitch cards to draw. I think this card's actually going to be really cool. Standard card, really cool EDH card. Not really much in other formats. Then the other cards that we got today I wanted to talk about were the Fire Crystal, the Earth Crystal, and the Wind Crystal. So the Fire Crystal is very straightforward. Red spells cost 1 less, and creatures you control have haste. Krenko's 3 mana and his haste. Pile Driver is 1 mana and his haste. You take this to Pioneer, and there's so many crazy applications. Yes, it's 4 mana, so it's going to be very expensive. Not really going to impact your early game, but this is like a sideboard card or maybe a one of to allow yourself to get, it's your. I was gonna play the blue-red siege because it gives all my goblins haste. This is 1 more mana, but permanently in a non. It's not a creature, so it's gonna be harder to answer. And all my creatures are gonna cost less too. Put me in, coach. The Earth Crystal is also insane. It's a 4 mana legendary artifact. Green spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. If 1 or more 1/1 counters we put on a creature you control, twice that many 1/1 counters are put on that creature instead. Best wording. That's amazing. 6 mana tap. Distribute 2 1/1 counters among 1 or 2 target creatures you control. So it's not a Hardened Scales because Hardened Scales just gives you 1 extra counter. This is actually a doubling season for 4 mana on an artifact that also makes your green spells cheaper. I think this was a mistake. I think that something really broken is going to happen because of this, and that's fine. I love it when things are broken, but it's something to be aware of. And this is one of the best EDH cards I've seen out of the set so far, and that's saying something because there's so many good cards for EDH. If we look at just sheer power level, right? This it says screen spells. There's no contingency. There's no or not contingency. There's no restriction. It just is all of the green spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. And it gives you the doubling season effect for not everything, and it doesn't double your tokens, but for 4 mana, you're okay with losing those 2 things. Also, your other spells are going to cost less. So it's this card is actually insane. The Wind Crystal is kind of like the original Boon cycle, where the white one is kind of underwhelming. White spells cost 1 less to cast, and if you gain 1 life, you gain twice that much life instead. That could be crazy. That could be really insane. 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, right? However, I just I could see a world where there's a life gain deck in standard, but right now I just don't see it happening. It's 4 mana, and then you have to try to untap, and that means you have to have survived to get to that point. I'm much more excited about the blue spells cost 1 less. If an opponent would mill 1 or more cards, they mill that many plus 4. Then you can pay 6 tap. Each opponent mills cards equal to the number of cards in your hand. Super, super impactful. Fire Crystal is super impactful in red. Green, super impactful in green. Wind Crystal is kind of a meme. You get amazing bonus sheet art cycle. Super cool bonus sheet cards that could just show up anywhere. Yeah. Oh my god, Astral Titan is Primeval Titan, and I don't even know what that is, but that looks amazing. Oh yeah, we got Atir and Pruin, I believe. It's 6 mana, equip 5, but equipped creature has base power and toughness X, where X is your life total. Then you just give it Shelter by Ghosts, right? And then you just attack, and then it just gets really big. The bounce decks just keep getting more tools. It bounces a permanent, it has flash, and landfall makes it bigger. It's just such a cool time to be playing Magic. These spoilers look amazing. This is you end step, beginning of combat, put a number of 1/1 counters on this creature's power up to 1 other target creature. That creature becomes a mutant in addition to his other types. Whenever a mutant you control dies during your turn, draw cards equal to his power. Not draw a card. Draw cards equal to his power. That's really dumb. Father to Son is literally a 2 mana tutor for a vehicle. put in your hand, and if you flashback it, you get to put it into play. We got the red land, which is 3 mana, make a wizard. Wizard can deal it whenever you cast a non-creature spell. This token deals 1 damage to each opponent, and the normal side is a tapped land. Syncopate is back in standard. All you control mages out there can rejoice. We have Syncopate to play with. And I'm going to play it against the control mages. I'm going to be like, here's my counter spell. Syncopate. No spuckers. I'll play Izzet Goblins for a couple a couple episodes. So many cool cards. Those are the new ones. The rest of them, if you want to see all the spoilers, go to the Jack and Cole podcast episode 22. We just dropped it the other day. Me and Cole break down all of the Final Fantasy spoilers. That's the current update. Now we're just going to go play some Modern.